New year, new sled, right? Not that it really takes much of an excuse for me to get a new sled. It's actually the second year I've got a new sled around New Year's. This time I got it on January 4th. It is the first time, however, that I have got a package. The one on the left here is a 1974 Massey Ferguson Ski Whiz 304 chassis, but the 300 engine was bad, so it's got a 400 in it. Previous owner repainted the tunnel and everything. I don't know that I'm going to keep that one. This one, however, is really nice. It's a 1973 400T. It's got a correct 400cc J-Lo Rockwell engine. The previous owner went through and put in all new fuel lines for us. He cleaned out the fuel tank for us, and it's got spark and compression. So he said it ran off a spray, but he never put gas in the tank to actually test it out. So we might get lucky. We might have to rebuild the carb. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll get some gas in this one. All right, and this was the actual original fuel cap, and I just happen to have a fuel gauge that is the right length that came mistakenly for a different sled. So we're going to plop that in there before we even get it running. Give it new parts before it's even earned it. And I'll try priming this one up too. I can see it's pulling fuel already. Alright, let's turn the key on and try it. That was awesome! And I can see it was pumping fuel up here too. We've actually filled up this line. I don't want to overdo it with the primer because it'll flood really easy with that. Well, I've been pulling on it now for probably 2 or 3 more minutes, haven't gotten anything. But this is the point where I'm missing my electric start sleds. Let's pull the plug out and see what we're dealing with here. I feel like I might have flooded it. If you can see here how shiny that plug is, it is just sopping wet. So we gave it a few too many shots of primer. I'll take the plugs out and clear it out. Hopefully it'll fire back up. Alright, I didn't see a lot shooting out of there, but I'll dry these plugs off and we'll try it again. No primer this time. Ooh, that was good. I'll try a little choke. Didn't like that. Alrighty, I've been pulling on it for quite some time. Multiple times drying out the plugs, and I have been pulling it over with the fuel shut off. So any fuel, we shouldn't be getting any fuel going through the carb. So it's wanting to. I don't know how much fuel is left in the carb or what's in there, but if it starts running, I'll take and quick turn that on and we'll see what happens. It started going, and as soon as I turned that fuel on, it just died right out. And I am 100% sure that it flooded. So that needle is probably stuck inside of the carburetor. Maybe I can try smacking the carburetor a little bit. Otherwise, we're going to be needing the full rebuild kit. And well, looky here, I just so happen to have one for a Tillotson HD. Nice. So I did get it running for a little longer, and I was able to keep it running by turning the fuel shut off on and off. But it is just pissing gas out the exhaust. And that really means that our needle valve is bad and there's just no metering going on at all. Okay, so before I get all gung-ho and tear this thing apart, I think I'm going to see how many turns out our needle valves are. So this one is 1.5, 1.5. So it was 1.5 out, and it's supposed to be at like 1.25. So I don't really think that quarter turn made that big of a difference. Somewhere out there an engineer is laughing at me trying to get this bolt off. Alright, we got the carburetor off, and I'm not really going to get too much into this. There's videos out there of rebuilding Tillotsons. Alright, I got all the bolts out now. I also already took the like the fuel inlet thing off. There's a little filter and gasket that goes on that too. So our first plate goes right here, and there are some locating pins on here. So we have this gasket right there. I'm going to take this one and just set it in order so that way I can keep track. Okay, so he went here. We had a regular gasket, so that looks like this one. Yeah, that matches up, so we'll put that here. Alright, the next one is this one. Okay, that must be the actual pulse. Yep. Okay, then underneath that is our diaphragm. Oh, it looks like this goes on top of the diaphragm. Okay, so this is interesting. Our needle is not stuck. That must mean that our little check valve in here must be bad. But it's cool they give us a new little metering arm and stuff in our kit, so we'll definitely take this out and put a new one in. I know, those are a pain in the ass. And I guess I'll take these needles out too. One is a long one, one's short. Alright, and then we get a little rubber O-ring under there. Okay. This one also had an O-ring and like this brass seal on it. That's interesting. It's a rubber O-ring, a brass ring, and then another rubber one. We do have these little guys, so I'm not sure what they're about, but maybe that's... No, they're not brass. Interesting. This fuel return is, it's like barely drilled out at all. That's super interesting. I'll go get something to take the seat out, and then we got to take these two Welsh plugs out too, because there's important bits under there. Okay, so there's one. We'll pry that out. Alright, so I got them both drilled, and this is the one with our little check valve in it. This entire area is the bowl area for the fuel. Under this Welsh plug would be the idle speed, and it looks like this would be the high speed. So we kind of had that backwards when we were going before, but this one was only in, what was it, half a turn or something, and this one was quite a bit more, but it goes all the way through here. And your fuel actually comes from the bowl, goes into here, and is metered with those screws into here, which goes into the main jet. and then same thing into here, right there, and then into the idles right here, which would be behind your throttle. But I did find it. There's a check valve right here, and that ball that's in there is gummed up pretty good. It doesn't look like it, but it's not really moving. I can't figure out a way to get it out, so maybe we'll just have to soak it in place. Okay, so I took it outside and I just sprayed some carb cleaner in there, and I don't know if you'll be able to hear this, but I did get the little check valve to free up. It's going, so we'll start putting this thing back together. That should solve our issue. I already went ahead and scraped all of the gasket material off of our things, off of our plates. First thing I'm going to do is start with these Welsh plugs, and they're just going to pop right in here like so. And you got to take a little baby hammer and just flatten them out so it squishes and seals. Alright, now that those are in, we just take and we can take and put our seat in, and everything else is basically just going to be the reverse order, building your plates back up. So I'll get back here when I got that put back together. Alright, now that I got the carb all put back together, I set this is the high jet actually. I set that one to a turn and a half out, and this is the low jet. I'll set that one to a 1 1/4 turn out. Those are our initial settings, and we can tune from there, but let's get that thing slapped on here. This is kind of a pain because you have to put these on here while holding it slightly up, and then you can thread the nut on. And try not to drop it down into the abyss. Alright, now that it's on there, time for lines. This one goes here. Let's see, we had a pulse line here and the return. Oh, that's not good. The return went back here. Alright, I'll get a clamp on this one and then get those clamped down. Then we should, oh, I got my controls to put back on too. Alright, we're all hooked up back together. Throttle works. Choke works. Should be good to go. I'll give it a couple primes. Actually turn the fuel on first, how about that? Well, that was good. We're just priming it up. That's awesome. I think we're ready for a test ride. But first, we're gonna put on our brand new old stock Daco Max belt. I mean, look at this thing. It's got to be from like the late 80s. That is, you just don't see that anymore. 25 bucks. All right, here we go. Well, that's as far as it made it, and it just flooded right out. I got off to turn it to get around the cars, and it died. Guess we got to dig in and see what's going on. So now that I got my carburetor off and opened up, one thing I forgot to do when I was putting it together was adjusting this metering arm. And as you can see, it's up pretty high. It's supposed to be down flush with this surface right here. And as of right now, it's almost flush with the gasket surface. So we're probably like 1/8 of an inch high. So that'll cause our flooding issue. So I'm going to adjust that down where it needs to be. And we'll slap this back together, see if that helped. All right, I tried adjusting that metering lever and it seems to help a little bit, but it just keeps flooding and flooding. So I guess take a little break and I'll think about it, maybe dig into it and see if I can find anything else that's wrong. Okay, so I couldn't test this until the carb was together and I actually tried it out, but the needle being on this little metering lever here is how I took this apart, and that's how I put it back together. And sitting in the carb, when it's in there like that, the needle cannot actually go all the way down into the seat and seal. So that's why it was flooding out. But when you have it in there like this and the seat or the needle just rides under this groove, it's kind of stupid that they put the groove in there and it's supposed to be like this, but you don't actually hook it in there. You just kind of let it rest on top and it runs like a top now, so we can take her for a test ride. All right, get her going. Alright, just stopping to look at the spark plugs here, and they don't look terrible. Could stand to go maybe a little bit richer, so I think I'll turn it up, and we can keep sending it. Alright, top speed on. It's a really fun, peppy sled. It's running just awesome. I'll have to get it registered and I can actually take it out on the trails then. Thanks for watching. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe.